Yuppos! This is We to Play the Brenton Brushworks of YouTube! And welcome to my video! There's this nasty little stain. Well, I've had this hat for a long time. I mean, can you really blame me? Sometimes it's hard to let go of certain things that you really love, even when they're mangled up and they don't look as good. But sometimes it is good to replace those things, but always have the memories in your heart. How fitting could that possibly be when I talk about Pokemon Horizons, the series, the brand new Pokemon anime series, replacing the one we have seen for, 25 years or something? Or 20 years, sorry. 20 years with Ash Ketchum and all his Pokemon, including Pikachu here. But it is a new era. The arc of Ash is over, and there is a trailer for Pokemon Horizons, the series. This is technically the second video I've seen for this, but this seems big enough that I think I can make a reaction video out of it. Unless YouTube hates that. We'll find out together. So, welcome to my reaction to Pokemon Horizons, the series, the official trailer. Click! It's still in Japanese, but forget what you were even scared about. With Pokemon by your side, everything will be alright. Yep, that looked like it would be alright. Our mission is to reveal the mysteries of Pokemon and the world. Reveal the mysteries. Seems the pendant hides a secret. Whoa! And that secret is linked to you. I want to learn about things I don't understand. That's why I've come here. I found you! I want to challenge the Pokemon from the legends. Can't afford to lose to you here. I won't find anything unless I take the first step. Let's go! Wrong thing. And there we go. That was the entire video. Ah, good. I'm glad I took time out to just show that off and probably get in trouble with YouTube. But you know what? We are going to use this as a way to talk about and reflect on the original series. I will try not to make this too long-winded, but you know me. So, here, Zoo, you can just sit right there. You are always in my heart, but Shiny Tepig is my mascot. So here we go, Pokemon, the original series, starring Ash Ketchum, a boy from Pallet Town who had a lot of learning to do. He wasn't even able to get his own starter, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, despite the fact that he wanted them so bad and ended up missing out on his opportunity because, and I did not know this as a child, he threw his alarm clock like a gosh darn Pokeball, because it's a Pokeball-shaped alarm clock. So it broke, and he was late getting to the professor. Gary Oak, Ash's rival, ended up getting a Pokemon, which we would later learn would be Squirtle. But there were no Pokemon left for him. So, what was left was a Pikachu that Oak Professor Oak happened to catch. And that was the only Pokemon that Ash could have. And that spawned a huge adventure that has spanned for like 20 years. Ash meeting Misty and Brock, who are both gym leaders who traveled alongside him. The original series was just such a fun thing to watch as a child, although there are some parts that give me the heebie-jeebies in a way and things that I question to this day. But it was still a wonderful series, except Ash was pretty much a dork. It was his first time traveling, And I can't fault him on that, because he was first learning to be, a genuinely good person, which he genuinely wasn't sometimes, and learned by traveling around the world, catching Pokemon, trying to be a Pokemon master. What is a Pokemon master, though? Is it a person that ends up beating every single trainer, being the strongest trainer there is in the entire world, even though every single region seems to be doing that? And there's still stronger people that show up, like Leon, who was unbeatable at one point? Well, there's a lot to go through. There's a short answer, but I'm not here to answer short answers. All I'm going to say is that I enjoyed watching Pokemon as a kid. The only way I was able to watch it, though, the anime, the only way I was able to watch it was with video tapes. VHS, if you know what that is, if you've been a boomer like me. I might be a boomer, but I still enjoy stuff that's in the present. But regardless, what was I saying? Ash traveling Kanto, learning to be a bad person, getting the 8 gym badges needed in order to try to fight the strongest trainers in Kanto in a tournament, basically victory road in a sense. And Ash had to learn and adapt to many things. I guess what I was talking about was the VHSs. That was the only way I was able to watch the show. My mom would buy a VHS that had 3 episodes on it, except for one episode that had 4. I even got to see an episode that later got banned in the US. It involves a Jinx, that's all I'm going to say. But it also involves freaking Santa Claus and a Lapras that can use telepathy. The first time I'd seen a Pokemon do that. Speaking of first, Pokemon Shipwreck. My gosh, was that something my little brain had to adapt to as a child. It started out as a regular type of Pokemon episode, except Team Rocket, and I don't just mean Jesse, James, and Meowth, the main people we follow in Team Rocket, but a whole organization, a whole slew of Team Rocket grunts was trying to catch and abduct all the Pokemon on the SS Annie, a ship that was sailing at the same time Ash happened to get onto the ship. There was some kind of thing with Radha and Butterfree, but I refuse to talk about that. The problem is that all those attacks that everyone was doing between the Rocket members and the people on board caused the ship to sink, and Ash, Brock, Misty, and all of the 3 members of Team Rocket that we care or don't care about were on a sinking ship, unconscious, as it just slowly descends down the ocean. My heart stopped when I saw that. I could not have prepared for what would have happened after that. First off, Ash and everyone is okay. They end up getting off the ship. There was a Magikarp thing that happened. All you gotta know is James is a sucker, bought a Magikarp from a Magikarp salesman, and then when they finally got out of the ship, they tried to eat Magikarp because they were hungry, okay? They were hungry. When they found out that that couldn't happen, that the scales on the Magikarp were so thick that not even Meowth's fangs could penetrate it, James kicked the thing, it evolved, and it was so mad, so angry, like Gyarados usually is, that it spun a twister or something and sent everyone flying. But here's the thing, this was the first episode where everyone was separated, including the Pokemon. And when subtitles came up for what Pikachu was saying to the other Pokemon and vice versa, my heart, blah, I don't know how else to say it. my heart blew up in the best of ways. It's like, oh my gosh, Pokemon can understand humans. And that just quickly led to my obsession over here. See? Why else do you think I bought this many plushies? There are way more. You guys don't understand how many Pokemon plushies. There are some still in the bedroom. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm not ashamed. I love Pokemon. I will always love Pokemon. And that one episode, Island of the Mysterious Giant Pokemon, or whatever it's called, that helps solidify it so hard. But let me go back to trying to explain my thoughts of the anime series. Mostly about Ash's Charmander. He ended up getting a wild version of all 3 starters. I won't go into full details about that. But Charmander's the one we want to focus on. Charmander was abandoned by his previous trainer, a theme we are going to see a lot in the Pokemon anime series, or we have seen a lot. So Ash basically helped Charmander out, and vice versa, and Charmander entered the group. That could have been the end of it. But when Charmander evolved into a Charmeleon, suddenly Charmeleon is not listening to orders from Ash. Ash is so incompetent, so not prepared for this, that Charmeleon just absolutely disrespects Ash. Later on, Ash finds a Togepi egg, Gen 2 excitement unfolds, Aerodactyl almost eats Ash, don't ask, and Charmeleon evolves into Charizard, the lizard that we all know and love and sometimes hate, depending on the person, and he still won't listen to Ash. And that was the huge crutch that happened at the very end. I don't know if crutch is the exact word, but Ash ended up bumping into, I hope I'm getting the right name, but Richie, who kind of reminds Ash of Ash in a way, but more experienced. But during his goal through Victory Road to try to beat every single challenger, he barely was able to get to Richie. Team Rocket had something to do with that, it's not important. But he had to fight with Charizard, one of his last few Pokemon, and Charizard dipped. He just flew away, landed on a rock, and just fell asleep, and Ash was disqualified. This was his first major loss in the entire Ash arc. And Ash lost because of a disqualification because his Charizard didn't listen to him. This was a shocker. This broke my heart. So, the last episode I saw after that was Ash just trying to get over this and just seeing what would happen next. Boom! Johto! We have Johto videos, but seems like I'm missing something kind of important. Oh yes! Ash went to the Orange Islands, the Archipelago, I think it's called, which is a whole nother series that came between Kanto and Johto that I just did not know about. But it's important because not only does Ash meet who? Well, Tracy, obviously. But this is the arc where Charizard learns to trust Ash. It happened in an episode where he was fighting a Poliwrath, and Poliwrath just froze Charizard solid. And Ash was there to just stay by Charizard's side, comfort him, try to make sure he's warm, try to be there as Charizard was recovering. And Charizard was starting to notice, like a lot of us, that Ash was changing. He was, dare I say, evolving, becoming a better person. And Charizard saw that, acknowledged it, and now Charizard and Ash couldn't be any closer, just like Ash and Pikachu. I might have skipped over this, but Pikachu did not like Ash for a long time, for a while. At least during the first few episodes. Mostly the first one. But over time, they began to trust each other, began to learn more about each other, and Ash was starting to learn from Hard Knocks how to be a better Pokemon trainer. How to care about his Pokemon. That, unlike what I thought at the very beginning, that Pokemon is just battling. You see a trainer, bow him. It doesn't matter what your Pokemon thinks, just bow it. You want to be the very best like no one ever was. That's not, yes, that's part of it, but it's not the full story. Pokemon, at least when it comes to the anime and my perspective, have feelings, have thoughts, have emotions. They have their ups and downs, just like humans do. Pokemon is relatable to me. But it seems like it's just sometimes more accepted. It's like the more you work with a Pokemon, like your partner, the more you work together, the closer you get. And I think that is a powerful bond that it doesn't happen as much within the real world in some cases. I'm going to turn this thing around. Maybe stop wearing it, honestly. It's making my head sweat. So, the Orange Archipelagos. Those were a series of episodes. Once more, I saw this way later, like after the Pokemon Black and White series happened. Maybe even in the middle of Pokemon X and Y. Doesn't matter. There were all kinds of unique episodes and things that I don't know how they got away with it or how it makes sense. Like berries that turn Pokemon pink. That is a thing. But there's also some episodes like Crystal Onyx where it kind of maybe makes you think about Pokemon, I don't know, turning into crystal versions of themselves, aka Pokemon Scarlet and Violet with terastallizing. Same thing with surfing Pikachu. There was a Pikachu that knows how to surf, had psychic abilities, somehow with blue eyes, boom, Alolan Raichu. I love this series. I love these deep cuts that lead to bigger things. But anyways, just quickly going over the Pokemon Orange Island series. Ash went into a completely different competition where he just had to get 4 different badges per se. And then fight to see if he won. And he won! But, that's just such a more shallow victory that people don't look at that much. Because it's like, to be the very best, you need to be a champion. In the games, after you go through Victory Row, which is a place, not so much battles, although there are battles that take place in Victory Row, but whatever, you fight the Elite Four. 4 of the strongest trainers, not including the champion of the region. It could be Lance. It could be, why did I almost say Lear? I'm so sorry about that. Leon, that's what I meant to say. It could be Leon. It could be in that one single time, in that one single game. Whatever. You have to beat the champion to become a champion yourself. So Ash wouldn't get respected until he became a champion, which you know as much as I do, that's not going to happen for a long, long time. So let's just go over my bullet points for all the other series. Now, I'm not going to go over every single season. I'm going to just divide all the seasons into groups. And I'm calling this the, I want to say arc, but I think it's something else. I guess just the series. Like the Kanto series, the Johto series, the Hoenn series. They all combine together. So that's what I'm going to call it. So the Johto series. Once again, my mom is behind these VHSs. I got to see Ash get Chikorita. I got to see... Geez, what else? That's mostly the main one, and that's the thing. I didn't get to see every single Johto episode. Because suddenly, and I don't know if this was something Mom chose not... I don't know who's to blame here. If it's my mom, or if it's the stores. But all of a sudden, there were no more Johto videos. None. I'm going to guess that Pokemon started to fall out of popularity a little bit. You know, that fad thing people keep talking about. I'm guessing that my local Walmart just stopped putting Pokemon videos out for people to watch. Because I didn't get to see Chikorita evolve. I didn't get to see Ash catch a shiny Noctowl. I did get to see Charizard go to the valley to train and to become a better Charizard overall. But, I don't know. I'm trying to think this over. The Pokemon the third movie, not exactly my most favorite, but one of the most iconic parts is when Charizard suddenly swoops out of nowhere and saves Ash from falling and dying again. Ash dies a lot. He should have not been able to live for 20 plus years. Ash dies in the first movie. Ash could have died in the Kanto series when he fell off a cliff because of Sabrina. There's just so many instances where it's like the series probably coulda, shoulda ended at some point sooner. And that leads me to a darker timeline that didn't happen. I'm not gonna go into this too hard, but rumor says that the series was supposed to end with the Pokemon rebelling against humans. I did not make this up. This is on the internet. If you haven't read it, go ahead, but it's a deep, deep, dark rabbit hole that combines into Pokemon, the movie 2000, and essentially Lugia. It's a dark thing that happened that, while not everything had a happy ending to it, ultimately it was for the best for Pokemon, the franchise in general. But so I didn't get to see all the Johto episodes when I was young. Eventually, after Chikorita was caught, Charizard was quote-unquote released. Then we went into Advanced Battles, aka the Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire series, which I'm going to tell you lasted way shorter for me. But going back into specifics, one of the cool things about Johto is it had several times, at least 2 times. Okay, there's also the movies. No. Sorry, I'm thinking about something else. It is really cool to me, I'm going to get off script a little bit, but it's really cool to me that there's some Pokemon episodes and movies that teased future generations. This was an exciting thing to see. Seeing Marill and Snubbull in the first Pokemon movie short, and then a Dawn fan at the very beginning of the title sequence for Pokemon the first movie was so exciting. Unfortunately, this meant that I missed out on other key things like Kecleon showing up with a not actually shiny color, and Blaziken at the very end, which Ash's Charizard lost to. So that's 2 losses so far when it comes to him being a champion. But we're not going to count every single one because all that matters is what he ends up doing in the end. So we're going to the Hoenn series. Imagine, if you will, a person that went from stopping in the middle of the first Johto season to going to the first Hoenn season and suddenly watching Pikachu attack Ash with these red eyes. That messed me up. It's like, what happened? And what ended up happening, I later learned, was that much like another episode I didn't like so much, where Pikachu gets a little messed up with Magnemite and electricity, which I didn't completely understand as a kid. Same thing kind of happened for the most part at the very end of the Johto series. Basically, Pikachu absorbed too much electricity, and it just kind of made him feral in a way. But it was the first thing I saw, aside from not Brock and not Misty, who ended up traveling with Ash in the Johto series, but unbeknownst to me, left at the end of the Johto series. This was the first time both of them had went their separate ways. A crossroads, if you will, which is another theme that I could get into a little bit, but I'll just dabble with that just a tiny bit. So, Ash is no longer with Brock and Misty. It's like, what am I watching? And then there's May, which was interesting at first, because May is afraid of Pokemon, the protagonist of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, now going to be one of Ash's travel companions. Along with Max, who people don't like as much. I'm not going to throw my 10 cents into it. But there has been so many different episodes. I'm going back and forth between seasons. But there's been so many episodes where Pokemon that you know and love that has been with other trainers, including Ash, just suddenly vanish. And one of the first times this happened was Butterfree. Bye Bye Butterfree was one of the most emotional episodes as a kid to me. And why wouldn't it be? Ash ends up releasing his Butterfree that had the yellow scarf around his neck to live with a pink Butterfree, not a shiny, because that's what Butterfree wanted. Everyone else didn't want Ash to let Butterfree go, but Ash, in his heart, knew it was the right thing to do. He let Butterfree be free to live his life, to have his own journey. It was a special and heartbreaking moment. And then a lot of other things happened, like Ash ended up losing Primeape, who he only had for one episode, who had Ash's hat. Like I said, he almost released Butterfree in a different way by trading with a completely separate trainer for Eradicate. That would have been a terrible way to go out. I'm looking at you, Beedrill and Ambipom, but this all leads up to one of the last things I saw, and I truly mean this, one of the last things I saw in Pokemon Advanced Battles. Team Rocket has had their Meowth, as well as a Wobbuffet that was accidentally traded with a Licky Tongue, but Wobbuffet's now a main character in the Jesse James duo, quadruple. But Jesse and James have also had their own partners, which used to be a Coughing and an Ekans. You see them in the second episode when Jesse and James and Meowth are first introduced. They've been in the series the entire time up to this point. They evolved into an Arbok and a Weezing. And I cannot tell you just how jaw-dropping it was to see the episode where Pokemon poachers are antagonizing and trying to catch a whole family of Ekans and Coughings, that Jesse and James release their original Pokemon to protect them. Arbok and Weezing, some of the OG bad guy Pokemon, are gone, and still gone. We never see them ever again. Now, does that include aiming to be a Pokemon Master, which I've been glazing over? I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say at all. that's for you guys to find out if you don't already. But Jesse and James's Weezing and Arbok are just gone. And that was the very last thing I saw for the Hoenn series as a kid. Because we only got 2 DVDs instead of VHSs. 2 DVDs. And that was it. We were cut out of Pokemon for good. You might be asking, why not watch it on TV? Because we didn't have the network that Pokemon was airing on, which I believe was Fox, so the Fox box. We didn't have that as our cable service. So there was no way for me to watch Pokemon until it came to Cartoon Network. That was such a huge deal to me. It was such a wonderful thing that just excited me to my core. Now, before I get into the next series, which is Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, which I have my thoughts about, but I will get to it. I'm going to put you down for a moment, Blitz. I need to exaggerate with my arms a little bit. Plus, you can see the pin, so Blitz is with me. Both down here and right here. So, anyways, before the Diamond and Pearl series showed up, one of the strangest yet coolest things I got to see was Pokemon Chronicles. A whole series of separate storylines that had nothing to do with Ash. Sometimes had to do with Ash's companions and other people he met, like Bugsy, who was in episode 2 of the Johto series, with her own Chikorita, a baseball fan through and through. And I mean, there's just so much to talk about with that, but I also got to see the very end of Pokemon Ruby Sapphire series. So the one where wrong character, May has her own Pokemon contest rival, which is just like a to me. It's like the only way I knew about Pokemon Contest was in Ruby and Sapphire, but I didn't know that May had entered it and was now trying to become a contest coordinator, which opens another floodgate up. It's like, working with Pokemon does not mean you have to bow with them. Pokemon Contest, as much as I hate it in Ruby and Sapphire because of how just how unfair it felt at the time, Pokemon Contest opened up the world of Pokemon more. It's like, you don't have to just bow with Pokemon. You can do these contests with them. You can work with them. It's like, Pokemon can be helping in the construction site. Or you could just be snuggling with Pokemon as like a therapeutic thing. It's like, Pokemon is much bigger than just the battling, which is what the games were meant about. Aside from Pokemon Snap, which you take pictures of Pokemon, and that's fun. But it's like, my thoughts, my world viewpoint of Pokemon was expanding further and further. Now, I don't want to just make this about me, but I do want to say that Johto, as much as it had its highs, had its lows, and I mean way lows. In Pokemon Blue, I could not get any further because I could not find the Warden who has Surf in the Safari Zone. Could not make that happen. In Pokemon Gold, I either could not get out of the Ice Cave, or I got beaten down by Clear, the 8th gym leader, so much that I just kind of came to a point where I said, I give up. I'm not going to play any more Pokemon games ever again. The only thing I care about Pokemon are the plushies. I will buy the plushies. I will enjoy myself with that because I don't see myself enjoying the Pokemon games anymore. So when Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire were announced, I was on the fence. It's like, am I really going to buy this? Am I really going to ask my mom to purchase this for me? And eventually I caved in, and that helped repair my love for Pokemon. Because then I discovered Pokemon Contest, which, again, I don't like. I prefer the Diamond and Pearl games version. And it was the first time, unlike freaking Ash, that I became a Pokemon champion. I beat, not Lance, Steven. I beat Steven after going against him and his team and the Elite Four so many times. Eventually, with my Blaziken partner, his name's Hotja, don't ask. I sometimes have weird names for Pokemon. Nicknames. But I ended up beating Ruby and Sapphire, and that got my passion for Pokemon fired up. Because it's like, now I know I can play the games, I can adapt to the situations, I can get further, and I can enjoy Pokemon to the fullest degree, aside from collecting every single trading card, manga book, toy, and whatever else. I just got billions and millions of stories. But what's important is that Johto, leaving that, it almost destroyed my passion for Pokemon. But because I got into the Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire games, it helped repair it. So now that I could watch Pokemon anime again through Cartoon Network, this was going to be the best part. This is going to be the best season of Pokemon for me, right? No, wrong-o. It just severed my connection a little deeper. First, the games. I'm just going to briefly complain about this. Too many evolutions to previous Pokemon. Not enough new Pokemon. Now, this is going to bite me in the butt later, but I'm just I'm explaining my thoughts here. I did not like the games as much because they had too many pre-evolutions and full evolutions. I mean, watching Rhydon become Rhyperior was infuriating, to say the least. I do not like Rhyperior's design. I didn't like the design for a lot of Pokemon in the Sinnoh region. But what about the anime? Hear me out, and hear me out good. There are good parts about the Sinnoh series. But the Sinnoh series is probably my least favorite series of Pokemon anime episodes. Is it because of the games? No. Is it because of the Pokemon? No. It's because of how they decided to deal with the series. First off, I just want to say this. Going back to the Advanced Battles, the Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire series, I didn't completely like Ash in that one because he was too arrogant. And why I didn't get to see all the episodes, the majority of episodes, I still haven't seen the majority of episodes for the Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire series, Advanced Battles, and so on. But Ash is just so full of himself. It's not like he ended up winning and becoming a champion. He got a little closer. Now they didn't have a Charizard falling asleep on the job and getting him thrown out of the stadium. But Ash was just a lot more arrogant and just harder to watch. Max didn't help things either, but my gripes are more with Ash than they are Max. But it's not even Ash's fault for the Diamond and Pearl series. It's a whole collection of things. Mostly Team Rocket. If I had to go through another moment where Meowth is fantasizing the most outrageous thing about Giovanni, the big boss who was a super threat that I got to see in the Pokemon promo video, and then later in the series, where it's just this black silhouette, and now Meowth is like fantasizing, oh, I can just Imagine the boss when he gets this slowpoke and he has trouble falling asleep. And then the slowpoke uses hypnosis on him. And then in his dreams, Giovanni's like, wow, I'm sure glad that there's a slowpoke that's able to put me to sleep. So now I can give all my riches to these 3 imbeciles. I'm That was good, Brenton. Slap in the face for that one. Nice. That was an abridged version, but it's basically the same. It's exactly as I say. And this happened like every single episode, and it was so annoying. I didn't like it, and the pacing was bad. And then there was Paul, my least favorite rival for Ash. I mean, he's better now, and it truly proved that he could be a huge rival for Ash. Hunter J. My gosh, had I not hated a single human more than I did with Hunter J. She was a threat. And then it just doesn't end because every time Dawn, the new protagonist, entered a contest, there's this judge that just says, remarkable, 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 remarkable! It's like that's all he says. It's like, stop with these tropes. They're not funny. They're annoying. And the Chingling episode, So basically, sorry, I went unhinged. Basically, no, I did not like the Sinnoh arc. But there are good things that happen. Chimchar's... watching Chimchar, it's like you have to support him. It's like you feel pain for him because Paul's the one that released him because Chimchar wasn't up to Paul's standards. It's like, ugh, forget. But watching Chimchar's growth was so satisfying. The final contest Dawn enters, where they sing this one song that I cannot find for the life of me an MP3 of. It was wonderful. And seeing Ash's Chimchar versus Electivire in the Victory Road Sinnoh League. Oh my gosh, that was so good. And then we got to watch Tobias. I think its name is Tobias. The person who won, who we only know has a Darkrai and a Latios. Legendary Pokemon that most people won't be able to get in the anime. It's just... I did not like the Sinnoh series at all. At all. There are some good parts, but I would never be caught dead watching the entire series from start to end. I would rather watch the Black and White series, but, oh, don't worry, I have my gripes about that too. I'll be getting into that. But here's the thing. I was excited. I was actually looking forward to Pokemon Black and White. Best Wishes, as it's called in Japan. You take the W for best, the W for wishes. It's wonderful. I love using that. But basically, the Unova series. And I was looking forward to it because they updated the art style tremendously. Ash now had these big eyes. It's like everything was colorful. And Pokemon Black and White, the games itself. Remember when I said not enough new Pokemon in the Sinnoh games? All there was new Pokemon in the Unova games. Black and White had nothing but new Pokemon. No Zubat, no Tentacool, nothing. They were all brand new, which... oh, I'm glad I got to go through that series. Speaking of series, but I'm trying to use a different word, I would say phase. This was the first time, and once again, I'm focusing a little bit of attention on me, not the anime, but regardless. This was the first time in the history of Pokemon where I learned that the black and white games were coming out to Japan first, and I went on Surby.net and looked at every single Pokemon. From Victini to Keldeo and Genesect, I knew them all. I already knew I loved Munna. I already had ordered a plush of Keldeo, which is not here. Where the heck is Keldeo? Hold on. I forgot Keldeo. There he is. Forgot Valiance. Can you, like, squeeze between Eevee? Perfect. Sorry. Feel bad about that. Okay, so I was excited for Pokemon Black and White, but I went to a whole big extreme when it comes to that. Now, what about the anime? I don't hate it. Like, my distaste for Sinnoh is bigger than the Pokemon Black and White anime. But there's definitely some things that happen. First off, I don't even know where I got this news, but I read somewhere on the internet that Pikachu was gonna be replaced by an Oshawott. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. Oshawott is my least favorite starter of the Universe series. I've got Tepig and Superior right here. Everyone's gonna tip over because I just did that, but Oshawott, not my favorite. So when I hear that Pikachu's gonna be replaced by Oshawott, I'm like, what? Why would you think that? Why would you believe something so crazy? And it's like I saw the scene where Pikachu is underneath a box or one of those silly little dishes that... I think it's a pan. Whatever it's called. It's like a comedy thing for Japan to drop a pan right on top of someone's head, like Wile E. Coyote getting hit by an animal. Well, I'm getting off topic. How does the Black and White series start? There's a Zekrom. Okay, so we're off to a great start. And Zekrom ends up zapping Pikachu. Now Pikachu has no electricity. It didn't make him crazy like the Magnemite and Team Rocket's machine from Johto, but now Pikachu cannot use electric moves at all. Now he's going against, I think his name is Trip. Trip is the new rival for Ash, more or less. And he uses a Snivy. I like Snivy. I like Superior. Snivy was my starter choice, even though Galaxy West really didn't like that when I learned it later, but that's another story for another day. Snivy ends up beating Pikachu. Everyone on the internet hated this. It's like Pikachu went against a freaking Latios. How the hell does he lose against a Snivy? I'm like, okay. I mean, this is the first time Pikachu's seen a Snivy. It's like, I just shrugged it off. Pikachu ends up getting his electricity back later, so it doesn't matter. Oshawott is the pitcher. He's a card and a half. There's just so much to talk about. I'm going to try to stay on topic as best as I can. The Black and White series was pretty good to me. But there was one reoccurring thing that was nearly in every episode, again, that just raised my eyebrows. And that's Team Rocket. Jesse, James, Meowth. I'm not even sure Wobbuffet was there this time because reasons. They're wearing... Okay, Jesse and James. They wear a white t-shirt with a red R on their chest. The Unova version wears black. Black is a much threatening color. But it wasn't just their outfit, it was their tone. They acted like completely different people. They were dead centered in being antagonists. Actual antagonists. They were serious to a fault. They were barely ever comedic. And when you thought that they were going to get their upcomings with Pikachu zapping them, they're like, we're blasting off again! I'm losing my words, by the way. Instead, they jet off with their jetpack. Like, we will be back. And, of course, they are back and back and back over and over again. But they had a much more serious tone to them that I just wasn't ready for. It's like, you look at the last episode they were in with Sinnoh, where they get a call from the boss. It's like, it could have been anything. But then they come back, and they're, like, way more serious than ever, where it almost feels like they're not the same people. It's like, what the heck happened? I mean, maybe it was slightly refreshing to see Team Rocket being more serious, but the comedy routines definitely left for quite a while. And then there was Silent and Iris. I like Iris. Silent, small doses. Let me just say small doses. When he's evaluation time, detective time, feeding time, whatever time, it's like, okay, tone it down, buddy. But again, a lot of the things they did for Black and White wasn't nearly as bad to me. It wasn't as unforgiving. But there were 2 instances where I looked at the TV screen like this, and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You really did that? You really did that? Why? Why would you do that? Why? Okay, so I do need to backtrack a teeny tiny bit. There have been episodes where I've raised an eyebrow or I've just freaked out. It's like, how could you get away with that? It's like the Ghost Maid and Brock almost dies. Ugh. There was one thing that had happened that just made my hair stand on end, and that was during the Pkmn Frontiers series, which is towards the end of Hoenn. Ash turns evil. Like, he ends up picking up an artifact or something, and an evil spirit possesses him, and he just turns straight up evil. It's like, what the fudge? What? Why? But what I'm about to tell you is way worse to me. Because we had talked about, or I had hinted how Pikachu had leveled down. It's like, well, Pikachu tied beating down this Latios, but then he gets beaten down by a Snivy. It's like, oh, I guess we're going backwards. Well, oh my gosh, people had said the same thing for Ash, but I wouldn't believe them until I saw these 2 episodes. First off, there's an episode where there's these small kids, these almost toddlers in a way, or grade school kids, with trebuchets, and they're in their treehouse, and the adults don't like it. So Ash goes up there, and he starts acting like a kid. He starts acting like, oh, well, we don't want to take this treehouse down anyways. Like, okay. But one episode, and I really mean one episode, in Pokemon Black and White is my least favorite, my most hated episode of all time. And that is the battle against Elisa. I was looking forward to Ash battling Elisa. The episode before was fun. I enjoyed it. But when Ash got down to the battlefield and was like, what should I do? Well, let me do this, which is not effective against this. And then he's just sitting on the ground. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do. It's like, my blood boiled. I was so upset. And watching Pikachu scream at Ash was the most lethargic thing that could have happened in that episode. Ash had never, ever, ever been as stupid than in that episode. And it infuriated me. It's like, can he ever be the same again? It's like, I hate this episode. I will watch the Chingling episode before I watch Ash be a complete idiot and act like the most incompetent person. At least he was trying when he first fought Brock. He was at a disadvantage with Ash versus a Onyx. But Ash still tried. And while there was the sprinkler system and Ash won eventually on his second battle, it's like, I had never seen Ash be more stupid than in that episode against Elisa. And it's my least favorite episode of all time. I don't care how bad the Sinnoh series was to me. That episode with Ash versus Elisa is burned in my heart and memory as the worst thing I had ever seen. No questions. So when I do my top 10 least favorite episodes, you'll know that's number one. So good. I'm gonna snuggle with my Teprig a little bit because I'm getting heated and his warmth might help me. Okay, so there's not much more I can say about the Unova series. I like Iris. It was kind of funny seeing her say, you're such a kid, because it was just like a running gag. But it was a lot less offensive than Meowth having these stupid flashbacks of the boss saying something outrageously out of character for him. Because they caught a Chingling and said, oh, the boss will love having Chingling ring in its ears. It's like, shut up. I would rather watch Team Rocket be edgy than ever see any of those Sinnoh episodes ever again. But again, the Elisa one, least favorite episode forever. It's hard to believe anything will top that. So yeah, the Unova series, mixed bag, very mixed bag. I want to say there was a little bit more good than bad, but a lot of people do not like this series. When I got on the YouTube, when I got the Twitter, it became very apparent a lot of people hated the Unova saga. They hate Unpheasant to a T. And I don't even mind Unpheasant. So, gosh dang it, where do we go from here? How about the best Pokemon series to ever air? Or at least top 3. Pokemon X and Y. I didn't think animation could get any better for Pokemon, but when I saw the trailer for X and Y, my mind was blown. It looks so good. It just... oh my gosh, X and Y is easily in my top 3 favorite Pokemon series of all time. It's the animation, it's just so fluid, and it's so action-packed, and the lighting, and just the intensity, but also just how beautiful it looks. And Team Rocket went back to being good old Team Rocket again, thank goodness. Jesse and James finally returned to not being edgelords. And they got Wobbuffet back with them. Good. That's what I wanted to see. But yes, X and Y, probably one of my most favorite anime series. And yes, because of the Unova series, now I was starting to dive deeper into what was going on in Japan. And eventually, somehow, I ended up stumbling upon something, probably through Twitter, where I started to see people talking about episodes that wouldn't release years later in North America being brought up. And nothing could be more apparent to that than when Ash Greninja was revealed. Or Satoshi Kokoka. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And even bigger, which was even more of a hit to the heart, Ash losing the league. Everyone thought Ash was going to win. Everyone thought that Ash was going to be able to beat the challenger, which, let's talk about the challenger, okay? This was another big for Pokemon, and I think it made the series even bigger. All of a sudden, we go from seeing Ash to now there's this new character. They have their own episode. The Mega Evolution specials. And just seeing Mega Evolution, can we talk about Mega Evolution? I don't know how a lot of other people feel. Some people hate it, but Mega Evolution was just the refresh the series needed. Not just new Pokemon, but Pokemon being able to transform into bigger versions that are more powerful, but then they revert back to the original forms. That's so cool to me. And being part of that big evolution to the series was Alon. Alon, oh my gosh. I mean, I'd seen characters like Alon before, but seeing him in his own set of episodes, which soon can join at the very end with Pokemon X, Y, and Z, which, by the way, I don't know what the anime version of the XYZ opening is, but the XYZ opening in English in North America is the greatest thing I've ever heard. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to recall the lyrics. Stand tall, 'cause I know I'm a winner. Knock me down, I'll just get up again. Pokemon, Pokemon, gotta catch them all! Oh, I'm sweating! I've been doing this for an hour, and I'm gonna get in trouble for the first 2-3 minutes where I showed freaking Horizons. Remember? Remember I did that? Remember? Cool! Okay. So, Alon was working with Lysandre. Or I think it's Lysander, actually. I keep messing up the names, and it hurts when I do it, and I realize it. Lysander. Alon was working with Lysander. He didn't know what Lysander's purpose was, which, of course, was evil, but it can join into the end of the Pokemon XY series, which was just so big. But Alon with his Charizard, and I love Charizard now. Since getting my shiny Charizard in Unova, which was supposed to go to Padfoot, again, another story. I've got bazillions of these stories. But I became a huge fan of Charizard. Heck, I wanted a Charmander when I first played Pokemon Red and Blue, but because of rules within my family, Galaxy West got that, and I got stuck with the Bulbasaur because Coda wanted a Squirtle. But, whatever. Seeing Charizard Mega Evolve was so cool, but the fact people were so upset that Alon beat Ash Greninja with his Mega Evolved Charizard after after Ash Greninja, which is basically an exclusive version of Greninja that only Ash can have, because their synergy, their bond, their aura, that's exactly what I was looking for. Their aura is connected. Froakie was meant to be with Ash. Froakie couldn't be with anyone else. Froakie didn't feel right with anyone else. But as soon as he met Ash, as soon as they worked together, their synergy just built. And now Greninja can transform into Ash Greninja. Or I can't say it again. Satoshi Chikoga, something like that. But seeing Ash Greninja lose to Alon, people hated that. And I thought that was going to just ruin the whole series. But honestly, the bow was grand. It was so great. And then watching Lysander suddenly show up, capture everyone, and make these terrible red vines, tentacles, pop out of the earth, sucking life sources like it was a Yveltal. Oh my gosh, this series was so good. I don't even mind that Ash released Greninja, because Greninja needed to defend Kalos from these stupid vines that will forever be polluting Kalos. I didn't mind that, because Ash has released a lot of other Pokemon before, and there have been a lot more unfair ways that Ash lost a Pokemon. Remember Ash had a Beedrill? Does anyone remember Ash had a Beedrill? He traded it away in like 3-4 minutes after he caught it. Probably less than that. It's like, oh my gosh. Anyways, XY, phenomenal series. I would recommend it to anyone, and especially people who are trying to get into Pokemon. I would say, watch this. This is the best Pokemon series. So we go into Sun and Moon. Oh boy. So I was full on Twitter now. It's like anything I knew from Japan, I knew the same day that Japan knew about, because people on Twitter would talk about it, and eventually I just subscribed to the Japanese Pokemon YouTube page. So now I get a preview for every single episode that's going to show up in Japan years before it shows up in America. So it's good stuff. Seeing the poster for Sun and Moon, it's like, what am I looking at? Why is Ash and Pikachu smile like that? It's like, everything else looks good, but then there's Ash and Pikachu, which Ash's design looks like a downgrade, and then Ash is going to school? What is happening? So I didn't have high praise, well, not praise. I didn't have high hopes for Pokemon Sun and Moon. But, oh my gosh. Boy, did that change. I was still going to watch Sun and Moon because it's like, it's Pokemon. I'm still going to watch Pokemon. I may have hated on Sinnoh and loathed that Unova episode, but I still watch Pokemon. Not every single episode's going to be good to me. It's not always going to be my favorite, but it's always going to be a favorite anime of mine. It's like, it was my first anime I ever watched. Second one was Shaman King! And then there's Hamtaro! But we're just talking about Pokemon. Okay, so Sun and Moon. It's like, if I say it's like anymore, I'm gonna have to slap myself again. I saw the preview. There were 2 episodes that they previewed on Disney XD, which now Cartoon Network doesn't have Pokemon. Now it's Disney XD, which thankfully I do have. So I was able to watch it. But they previewed 2 episodes. Now this is important, because I think these are the 2 canonic episodes. They used the exact same music that they used in the overseas version. But when the episodes premiered onto Disney XD, for real, they replaced all that music. They replaced all the musical arrangements of Sun and Moon themes with this generic tropical music they played for every single episode. That is the one thing I am absolutely the most upset about. I do not watch Pokemon subs, like the overseas versions, all that much. But when I found out that the music was replaced, and then later found out what the music was supposed to be for Ash's big finale, where he ends up beating Kukui, because we don't talk too much about how Ash ended up beating, what was it, Gladion? I think it was Gladion. I don't think it was How, but he became a champion. But the fight between Kukui and him and Tapu Koko was one of the most satisfying, amazing things to happen that blew up the internet. It's like Ash finally won. He won his first tournament. He's a champion. He is the champion of Alola. Ash freaking Ketchum from the town of Pallet, who could barely throw a Pokeball at a Caterpie and not battle the same Caterpie before catching said Caterpie, even though Go can get away with that. Ash won a Pokemon League. This news was so huge that, in case you didn't already know, English Pokemon Twitter just said outright. Before the episodes came out in North America, they said, today is Ash Ketchum Day because Ash beat the Alola League. It's like, you didn't even try to hide it. They didn't try to hide it. It's like I already ran into a bunch of people on Twitter saying, oh my gosh, you should see this. It's like, did you see it? Can you believe it? Ash is a champion. It's like the original Pokemon official Twitter feed said, yeah, Ash is the champion. I know you haven't seen the episodes, but it's important, you know, that Ash is the champion. It's like, okay then. I guess that's not a surprise anymore. But I'm so passionate about Pokemon it hurts. Let me talk about the series itself. It was actually good. It felt more of a slice of life Pokemon series, which I didn't know I wanted as much. But it's like a lot of the episodes were just a lot more toned down. But when it came to the battles, that's when the animation went up. And there was still a huge plot points. Stuff that I may have already knew from Pokemon Sun and Moon, but were twisted and turned in a way in the anime that just... Lily. Saying that right now is a spoiler, but Lily, she was a girl who couldn't touch Pokemon. This wasn't in the games. This was only in the anime. She couldn't touch Pokemon because, spoiler, she had a terrible, and I'm going to mess up the name of the Pokemon. She had a horrible experience with the Nihilego, one of the Ultra Beasts, which I didn't like Ultra Beasts all that much when they first introduced it. In fact, I don't like that a lot of Pokemon Sun and Moon was just revealed before the games came out. That just kind of ruined the games for me. But there's this whole separate story with Lily not feeling like she could touch Pokemon even though she wants to. Being able to experience what it's like to hug one to you, to work with one. It's like she's legitimately afraid of Pokemon. This isn't the same kind of fear May has. This is a paralyzing fear. This is a type of fear where it's like she's traumatized. She's absolutely traumatized. And you go further into the series and see what takes place during this. And then there's Mon. At the very end of the Sun and Moon saga, Lily and Lusamine, who had went crazy at one point, but now is an affectionate, normal mother. Lily, Gladian, and Lusamine sailed off on a ship in order to find their missing father. I haven't even talked about Serena kissing Ash at the end of X and Y. This whole series. Oh, but I will acknowledge it. I have acknowledged it. We ship Ash and Serena here. Not the Pokemon Serena. Well, however you pronounce that, but let's just get to the end of this 100 plus series. 1,000 plus series. There are more Pokemon episodes than there are Pokemon. There's only 1,008 so far, and counting. But there are way more than 1,000 Pokemon episodes. Pokemon Sun and Moon had their 1,000th episode, and that was the one where Kukui proposed to a character that only showed up in an obscure Pokemon game called Pokemon... Oh my gosh, I forgot what it's called, but it's for the... it's for the DS, I guess. But, what was it called? Can I look this up? I think her name is Burnett. But I can't remember... It was a Pokemon Pokemon Black and White thing. I just don't remember what it's called. The Pokemon game with... No, with... I played it at one point. Let's try this. Pokemon games for the DS. It has to show up. Conquest, Dash, Trozy. I'm bringing up a lot of things. No, not best games. I just want every game. Because no one's going to put this on their best games list. Okay, how about this? Downloadable. Oh my gosh, I can't do this. Downloadable Pokemon games for DS. Where is it? We're 3DS? We can go 3DS. Just show me something. I can't find it, guys. Oh. How to transfer Tornadus to Pokemon Black. Because that was the only way you could get Therian forms. Where was it? I can't find it. I'm so... I don't know what it's called, guys. I'm so sorry. Whatever. That professor, that one character, to show up in that one Pokemon game that I will probably list down in the comments once I actually figure out what it's called. She shows up in not only Sun and Moon, the games, but also the anime, and Professor Kukui proposes to her in the 1,000th episode of Pokemon. I love this series. And my love for this series continued even harder when they announced the next anime. Which you would think it would take place in only Galar, with probably Hop joining Ash and maybe, I don't know. Who's another gym leader that I could see with Ash Ketchum? I can't think of one right now, but whatever. Instead, now it shows Ash and a new protagonist, sorry, Go, G-O-H, and we didn't know it at the time, but they weren't just going to be in Galar. They were going to be in every single Pokemon region. Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola. Definitely some good Alola vibes. As well as Galar. And this got me excited. And honestly, it's probably one of my most favorite Pokemon series, aside from X and Y. Because they travel everywhere. It still has its faults. One of my other least favorite episodes is where Team Rocket is just viewing Ash and Pikachu and Go, and they're basically doing an abridged version of them. I did not like that episode. But a lot of other episodes, it was just so good. I'm not gonna go off about everything. I haven't even seen the entire series. I'm watching the whole series through Netflix, which is now the only other place you can find Pokemon. I don't know what's gonna happen after that, but regardless, I'm watching every single episode with Coen Bros of Pokemon Journeys, seeing Ash become closer to a Pokemon master and Go trying to learn to be a bad person, much like Ash. Except Go has barely been around other people. There's a whole backstory to that. But this connects the dots to other types of episodes, other series, other characters. Remember how in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, you fight Iris as the champion, and she has the champion outfit? She returns in Pokemon Journeys, and she has the champion outfit. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Plus, there's a return of other characters that you get to see, like Serena, which you barely get to see, but she's there. We mostly got to see stuff with Dawn, aka Sinnoh. Now, like I said, not everything I hate about the Sinnoh series was bad. Seeing how Team Galactic was handled, along with Tundra J, except I don't like her, that was phenomenal. But to see it expanded upon in Pokemon Journeys was incredible. I never had any hatred toward Dawn and her Piplup. So to see them return was great. It was wonderful. And I think this was the best of Sinnoh that I could possibly see. I would return and watch those episodes for sure. They tried to fill in so many areas that it's like, where are these characters now? It's like Sophocles from Pokemon Sun and Moon. He returns. He's trying to become an astronaut. He's working at a rocket facility. Not Team Rocket. That's a different thing. It's just like all these story points coming together. And the Alola Saga, the series everyone thought they would hate when they saw the poster, and now people adore it. It got so much love. At first, we're talking about, is anyone ever going to mention that Ash is the champion of Alola? And at first, we were still asking that. But over time, things just got better, including an arc I don't think any of us was sure was ever going to be continued/concluded, and that was Aether Foundation's Lily, Lusamine, and Gladion. I'm not going to spoil it, but it is touching, it is perfect, and it wraps up the entire Alola series perfectly. I mean, just seeing Ash on the plane, waving at his friends who are flying near the plane in the Alola series, that was touching. But, I love Pokemon, guys. I love it. The Lola series was given so much love, even when people weren't sure they were going to like it. It's like Lily's character was done phenomenally. Versus the games, it's just wonderful. Lily can be pretty annoying in the video games. I mean, I support her growth, but she can be annoying. But Lily in the anime, it's just such a different vibe, and you feel bad for her. You want her to have a happy life. I didn't like Lusamine in the games at all, but I like Lusamine as a character in the anime. Not so much at the very beginning, because it's like evil mother who is doing bad things. Being transformed by UB01, Symboyant, or whatever its name is, basically Nihiligo. Am I saying that? It doesn't matter. It's the jellyfish one. The big jellyfish Pokemon that looks like Lily, which I have already said too much. We had all thought that Lily was an actual Ultra Beast in the games, and Lusamine was a Pheromosa, which is another Ultra Beast, but it just... I'm saying too much, but luckily, we are at the end of this giant thing that I said I was going to do, but is super belated, and I only did because there wasn't much to talk about with Horizons. Reminding you all that I tried to watch the trailer for Horizons, which at least now we know the name. So where do we end off? How about the very end? I'm not gonna spoil anything for Pokemon Journeys. I'm not gonna spoil what happens with Ash and Go, even though we probably already know what happens with Ash. I'm just gonna talk about Aim to be a Pokemon Master without revealing hardly anything. Because I watched it. I watched all 11 episodes. And I watched the special that happens at the end of Journeys. I laughed. I cried. I felt heartbreak. I felt maybe a little bit of rage at some point. And I just had memories and emotions and love for this series and just pain that this was it. I've been talking about all the series up to this point. Kanto, Johto, all the way up to Alola, and now Journeys. Aim to be a Pokemon Master is the end of what I like to call Ash's arc. And Ash's arc started at the very beginning, the very first episode. Pokemon, I Choose You! Where they called it Pokemon or something like that. I don't know. Or Pokemon Master. Okay, going forward. So Aim to be a Pokemon Master is the same name of the first episode overseas. Now divided into 11 separate episodes that chronicle Ash after basically he wins. After his Journeys series. After Go is left. After he becomes a champion. Spoiler alert, but not really. After all of that. It shows Ash in all these other situations, traveling alongside the OG companions, Brock and Misty, with a certain Pokemon that people were thinking about in a certain movie that was a completely different ship that some people just don't want to talk about at all. But it's 11 episodes. I saw 10 this morning, searched for the 11th, which I was lucky to find. And my gosh, Again, not revealing anything, not spoiling anything, but I will say this much. There was one line at the very end of the episode. I don't know if it was translated correctly, because the subs for the last episode were just awful. They were awful. But there was something that was put into the subs that just kind of makes sense. I had mentioned towards the very beginning of this series, of this giant video, what does it take to be a Pokemon master? Is it truly fighting and beating all the strongest trainers in the world, including Leon, the unbeatable Charizard posing champion with Zards, and becoming the very best that ever was? Maybe being a Pokemon master is different to other people. But there was a line that was said at towards the very end that maybe is more significant, especially considering all the thousands of episodes Ash was in, that just ties it all together and makes it perfect. Perhaps being a Pokemon master is befriending all the Pokemon. Is just seeing all these Pokemon. Just going on these journeys. Seeing all these sights. Making all these friends. Discovering what is out there. From Pikachu to Koraidon. And going forward. Hisuian Typhlosion from the past. It's discovering all these things we didn't know and just continuing to travel, continuing to experience new things, which ties into me. I know Ash Ketchum, but I've had my moments. But one thing is true. I've been on this journey from start to finish. And why it hasn't been the smoothest of journeys where I would look at Nintendo Power and see Pikachu on the front and say, no, I don't think I'm interested. And then get a video sent by Nintendo Power singing and praising this franchise that had already done so well in Japan that in a past Nintendo Power episode, they talk about the series and hint at Hey You Pikachu, Pokemon Snap, and a game that never even came out. To start my journey with that videotape and just play these games, have these feelings, experience the anime, and yet in the games make my own story that's not only just connected to the stories of the games, but includes my own lore, my own story, my own Pokemon, my own, dare I say, series. This is the revised series. This is the series where no matter how many times I fall down, I get back up. And I just keep traveling. I keep exploring. I keep learning. And I don't want it to stop. I don't want it to stop. I don't want Ash's arc to stop. But this hat, this wonderful hat that I was lucky enough to spot in a Sears, miles and hours away from my hometown, and to say I want this hat, to cry for it, and for my mom to buy it. It may have this terrible stain on it, but this is a memory I will always treasure. I wish I could get rid of the stain, I really do, but I'm looking at the white now, and it looks more yellow, so it needs cleaning anyways, but not everything can stay the same. We're lucky Pokemon's still going to this very day. Pokemon's evolving. Just like Ash Ketchum evolved in the series. just like the games evolved from 2D sprites to 3D, which some people may say wasn't that good. Well, yeah, maybe that's true to some of you. I rather would have a Rhydon than a Rhyperior. Yeah, Rhydon. I keep mixing up Rhyhorn and Rhydon, but anyways. But that doesn't mean that that's bad. That doesn't mean that Mega Evolution is a poor excuse. It doesn't mean that even though we can't have Mega Evolutions in our new ninth gen Scarlet and Violet games, that's bad. We're just trying to evolve with the times. We're trying to learn from experiences. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, yes, it has some glitches. That's not good, but hopefully Game Freak will evolve further, and in the next set of games, the 10th generation of Pokemon games, hopefully it will be better. And even if it's not, we're in for the ride. Not every single series, not every single game, not every single episode, or toy, or whatever is going to be perfect. I enjoyed Pokemon Johto. I hated Pokemon Sinnoh. But I love Pokemon X and Y. And Black and White was okay too. The point is, it's not always going to be clean. It's not always going to be perfect. But I'm in it for the long haul. I will be a Pokemon fan for the rest of my life. Even when Pokemon ends, I will love Pokemon because it is a part of my life. And even though I said this exact same thing in a video you may never be able to see, I love Pokemon more than any other franchise. Mario comes close. I grew up with Mario. But Pokemon changed me. Pokemon helped me evolve. You guys are looking at stuffed animals that cost a bunch of money, especially this one. But I see friends. I see partners. I see my family. And as weird as that sounds, I already have a real family out in the real world on this earth. But in my role plays, in my imaginary world that at age 36, I'm still blessed to have, I couldn't love these guys more if I tried. Pokemon has forever changed my life. And no matter where the series goes, I will continue to love it and hopefully evolve with it. From Gen 1 to Gen 9, going forward, from Pokemon Indigo Plateau to Pokemon Journeys, aim to be a Pokemon Master, and soon to be a brand new arc with Pokemon Horizons. I love Pokemon. That's all I can say. So I hope you enjoyed this long-winded video that hopefully you'll be able to see all of if YouTube and Game Freak and the Pokemon Company and Creatures doesn't chew me out for this one. But I'm glad I got to do this. It's been an emotional ride. I was in all kinds of bad sorts yesterday when I thought I was going to take care of this. And I just decided, no, I just don't feel like it. So when I woke up early this morning and started looking up Aim to be a Pokemon Master episodes and started watching them one by one, it felt right. All of this feels right. I'm happy about where I am, and I'm happy about where I'm going, especially in this new apartment, but that's beside the point. And I'm happy to be not only a Pokemon fan, but, at least in the anime's eyes, a Pokemon Master. So thank you for watching. Until my next Pokemon, or Mario, other game stuff related, not Pocket Monster stuff. This has been We to Play. I got nothing left to say, so I hope you enjoy your day. Take care out there, and I will catch ya later.